Hello everyone, welcome to another Outread tutorial. Today we'll be going over our new tool called DeepResearch. Now DeepResearch is an upgraded version of our previous tool called Darwin. You can essentially type in any query and it'll go through an extensive amount of databases and sources using an agentic loop and solve your query and give you the results that you want. Now to get started, it's quite simple. All you want to do is simply type in your query. So for example, I already have a query copy and pasted here. Now for the best results, you would ideally want to make the query as in-depth as possible. So here I can specifically state extract dosage, treatment plans, and let's say limitations. Now you can obviously determine how in-depth you want the query to be, but we've normally found that the more in-depth the query is, and the more specific the query is, the better the results. Now, once you're done entering in your query, the tool will give you a research plan. This is essentially an action plan that has been designed by the AI, giving you control over what it will do. So the first thing first is you want to determine the output of your result. There are two options available at the moment. One is a report and the other is a table. The report is essentially a 2,000 to 3,000 word essay answering a query with inline citations and a full referencing guide. The table, on the other hand, gives you a table of every source you could find and fills in the columns that it determined to be appropriate to answer your query. Now there are three sort of subsections to this research plan. The first one is sources, so what sources we'll look at. So for example, here we'll look at clinical pharmacology, regulatory submission documents, FDA drug labels, PubMed, etc. The second is columns. So for my output, I chose table. So these are the columns that will be included in the table. The third one is scope. Now, the scope includes 4 adjustable fields. The first one is focus. So what do you want the AI to focus on? The second one is time period. So what is the period of sources that you want to look at? The third one is include. So if there's anything that you specifically want to include, such as RCT, meta-analysis, etc. And the fourth one is exclude. So if you want to exclude animal studies or anything else, you can simply add that in. And once you've determined all of these, you can simply just click on Start Research. Now, while the research is starting, the agent will give you a streamed out thought process, so you can fully look at and see what exactly the agent is doing to adapt and answer your query. Now, this process can take anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes, depending how complex and technical your query is. So I will see you guys when the query is done. So seems like the results have finished generating. So since we asked for a table from the tool, this is the table that was generated. You can see the results table. It came with 116 items. That means there's 116 rows. So we can see the drug name, all of them are filled out all the way down to the last row, which is 116. You can also scroll to see everything else. Now, if there was a single cell that was not, that it couldn't retrieve data for a single specific row, it will just say NA, which means not available. Now there's a few other tabs you can look at, which will just give you more idea of the results. The first one is sources. So these are all the sources that it could search and find that were relevant to your query. Now, all of these sources are not included in the report/table, so it's more of like just like a holistic view of what it could search and find for. The third one is process. So if you want, you can look at the process that the agent took. So if you click on any one of these, such as filter, you can see the thinking, action, result. Similarly with enrich, thinking, action, result. So you can look at the enrichment strategy for each item, the processing, etc. Fourth one is statistic. These are just how many search queries were run, how many sources were searched, the number of raw results, and the number of items that were in scope, which means it passed filtering. And then the last one was just plan, which just gives you the key concepts and the strategy. And as you can see, it took about 1,200 seconds, which is approximately 15 minutes, I think. Oh no, sorry, 20 minutes. So it does take a while, but I think the results are quite good for the amount of time it takes. But that is pretty much how to use the new DeepResearch tool from Outread. Thank you.